Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Box to Box podcast. This is a big one. This is all about the Champions League final. Tomorrow it goes down in Turkey. Man City takes on Inter Milan, treble against history. Oh my God, I am excited. What a game. What a time to be
You
alive.
could
What can you
say,
tell me about it?
yeah, you could say that they're both going for a treble. Although Inter didn't win the league, so it's not the traditional treble. They've won the Italian Super Cup and the Coppa Italia. So they pretty much secure all domestic trophies bar the league, and they won the Champions League. I mean, it's I don't think it would be called a failure whatsoever.
Oh
Um,
no.
This is in regards to Man City. This is Pep's fourth Champions League final, his second in the last 3 years. So is City, so their second Champions League and second Champions League final in 3 years. Um, I think I read a stat. I don't remember if I don't know where I saw it, but I think Pep has like 65 win percentage, something like that in Champions League finals. I think, which is not bad. I mean, if he goes on to, let's say if he does lose it, that's 2 out of 4. I don't think that's a bad record. I think I think City are going to win just purely without talking about how the game is gonna go, the different players, the approach each team. I think City is gonna win. But before we go into before we break down who is going to win, how they're going to win, let's talk about let's break down each team and see what capabilities they have, what they can offer, what advantages they both have, what disadvantages. Although I doubt anyone sees any disadvantages in City's team. So yeah, if you have anything to say about Inter, what do you think? Initial thoughts about this final with Inter Milan?
Well, Inter. I mean, a lot of people are talking about Inter parking the bus.
Yeah,
And I think that is the worst idea possible
very much.
for Inter.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that the reason, a big part of why Man City have been tremendous this season, obviously they've been great and, Pep has done a very good job with them. But I also think teams give them too much respect. You know, we saw it with Arsenal in the Premier League in the game at the Etihad. Yes, City were way better than Arsenal, but a big part of that was that Arsenal respected that City team too much. And I think Inter tomorrow should go and play just like they're playing any other team. Obviously, with the right tactics in mind, knowing that they're playing the best team in
yeah,
the world. But besides that, take that out of the equation. You're just playing another game of football. You've won a lot of games to get to this final. One to go. What's to worry? Just do play your football. Don't give them more respect than they deserve. Don't just park the bus because you're worried about Haaland or you're worried about De Bruyne's passes. Do the right things tactically.
hmm
You've got Inter have this Inter have this good defensive ability. They know how to close down players. But on the other hand, City, they play what? They play four players behind Haaland
yeah, yeah,
realistically.
yeah,
If you actually think about it. So, as much as Inter will worry about those tactical, mind games, etc., and how it's going to manifest on the pitch, ultimately they shouldn't give City any
yeah,
respect. We know how City's going to line up. City's lineup is very predictable. It's Inter that could make changes. It's Inter that could try and pull something
yeah.
off here. Martinez for me is going to be key in attack. He's going to be key. I've watched a lot of Inter games this season, especially because they've been very good and they've kind of been shining in a way this season. And the one man I see repeatedly game after game being the key and being the danger is Martinez. So for me, he's a key as well in
Yeah.
attack.
Um, well, before we break down how each team can approach this game, just interesting statistics. So like I said at the start, this is the second final for Man City's history. Their second in 3 years. I don't know if you know this, but this is the sixth Champions League final for Inter Milan. So this is I didn't know this. I was just checking the winners list a couple of days ago, and this is their sixth final. And if they win it, it's their fourth Champions League. They've already won three. I think they won in 64, in 65, and 72. I'm not sure. But the finals that they've been in is in 64, 65, 67, 72, 010, and now 23. So that's something interesting. I had no idea at all. I thought Inter just went to that final in 2010, won it, and that's game done. That's the only thing they have in the Champions League.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know this statistic, but I always knew there was history with this team in the Champions League, and that's why at the start I said it's treble
Yeah,
versus history. Because we can talk about the treble for Inter, we can talk about history for City, but ultimately City's on for that treble. A lot of talks about not just their success in the Champions League, but what could that mean for Holland's
yeah.
Ballon d'Or. But for Inter, this is history. They could once again add another one to the tally and continue to be one of the teams who've won more
Yeah,
Champions League
yeah, yeah.
titles. So yeah.
Um, okay, so speaking of statistics, throughout this knockout stage of this year's Champions League, Inter Inter have scored 9 goals and conceded 4. So they've played twice in the round of 16 quarterfinal semi, so 2, 4, 6. That's 6 games in the knockouts till now. They've scored 9, conceded 4. Whereas City have played 6 games, scored 17, and conceded 3. So and the one thing which I love about this is that those 3 goals they've conceded were all like 1 goal in each round. It's like they beat Leipzig 1-1 because of their away leg. Every away leg they had, they conceded 1 goal and they went to the Etihad and completely destroyed them. So we'll see if City increase their goal tally. It depends. It depends on how Inter approach. Yeah. So I think the best way to describe this final is one-sided because going into the final, everyone is expecting City to either blow Inter out of the water, and if not a masterclass by Pep or City, it would just be a regular head-to-head game where City would win. But I think there's more to it, and there's 5 different points where I think Inter can beat City. Um, if Inter want to look at the City team and analyze what they can do to exploit their weaknesses or their so-called weaknesses, I think the best way to do this is to study the 2021 Champions League final, to look at what Chelsea did, because Chelsea and Tuchel's side back then are very similar setup to Inter's this year. Um, so the first way I think Inter can win is a low block and press. So basically just stoking up the pressure as much as they can to let City have the ball, have the freedom, do whatever the hell you want with the ball. We're going to continue soaking up the pressure and try to stop the ball from going into Holland. And if the ball does go into Holland, we stop the lanes in which Holland can progress from. So make him have a bad touch, because yes, we've seen that he's improved his first touch, but he still doesn't have that significant spark when he receives the ball, tries to hold up play. So you break down the lanes, make sure Grealish and Bernardo don't get those balls. Now, going into the second point, you have to pick the right moments to press. So if you soak up the pressure, you need to be smart enough to know when to pick your moments and press them and go and score. Like Havertz's goal in the 2021 Champions League final. So exactly the same idea. And then the third one is the more points I'm going to talk about, the more I think the least amount of hope I think it gives Inter. The third one is set pieces. Set pieces, that's probably the only way you could probably score goals against the City team. There's not much, like corners, free kicks, whatever you want, penalties. And then the last two is that hope there's a drop in intensity and hope they have a day off. Because, man, good luck. Good luck. Because like you said, they play 4 midfielders behind Holland. They bring in Stones into midfield. So what makes it difficult for teams is that Holland's alone. But there's 4 attackers pressuring you and constantly putting pressure into everywhere. So...
And the difficulty is that it's not just any form of
midfielders. The quality is insane. The quality is insane.
They're very impactful. I think that first strategy you talked about is right on the money. Like I said at the start, no respect, press relentlessly. I'm not gonna lie to you. If Inter is gonna have a chance at this final, they need to be fit. I'm talking
run for your life.
City, because because City
Yeah.
is not going to get tired. They're
Hmm.
just going to move the ball around. That's what happened with Real Madrid in the second leg. Real Madrid made 13
Yeah.
passes in the first 15 minutes. They
Uh-huh.
didn't even touch the
Yeah, yeah.
ball. And why is that? They're just chasing City around, and City, no one's tired. They're just moving the ball very calmly. You can't allow City to do that. You have to, and if you want to allow them to do that, you've got to be fit. You can't have a drop off in pressing intensity. Otherwise, you'll
Yeah.
concede one, you'll concede two, you'll concede three, like Real Madrid did. So they've got to be a fit team. They've got to show no respect. Haaland receives that ball. Don't be scared. On his touch, on him
Yeah.
straight away. De Bruyne receives that ball. Close every possibility down. Close every possibility down, because even with all the possibilities closed down, De Bruyne finds a way. So you need to be relentless with pressure. You need to keep up a high press 90 minutes. And when I say high press, I
Yeah.
don't just mean high up the pitch. I mean intense
Hmm.
pressing on each player. So if Inter wants to win this final, fitness is key.
Yeah, yeah.
Fitness and
Yeah,
pressing.
non-stop. If
That's
you
it.
this is because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for this Inter team, this specific Inter team.
Yeah,
Why? Because
yeah,
they know. Let's talk about storylines here. They know that this is an opportunity that may not come for another 10 years again. Because not only is
yeah,
this,
yeah,
not
yeah,
only were they lucky enough to be on the bracket, the side of the bracket where the quality of teams weren't as good as the other side, they're rebuilding. Their financial situation isn't the best. They need to sell. They need to sell players. They need to free up room in their salary cap. This is a team that's going to rebuild after this final. So it's not like we're going to see this Inter team probably competing the way they did this year. So they know that they have to capitalize on every single moment they can. And the reason why I think this is going to be an interesting final and a very difficult final is because of well, we'll see if Inzaghi actually implements this, but if the two midfielders that are crucial are Barella and Brozovic in the Inter side, because Inter setup in the midfield is going to be so busy in the midfield because you've got four behind Haaland and then Stones and Rodri just in behind them, and then Inter play with a back three with three midfielders right in front of them. So you have six players already so close into the midfield. So it's going to be hectic. However, we know the quality of
yeah,
Man City and how much they can actually transition their lines and how much they can switch the role of play. Um, so I think whoever wins this final is like tactics is so important. I don't think I've seen a game where tactics is going to
yeah.
play a massive role. Like this game is all about tactics in my opinion. But from Inter side, it's probably going to be a more physical. Mentally, it's for City. Physically, it's for Inter. That's what I think.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Like I said, intensity, you just got to keep it up. You know that Pep is managing this side. You know that he's going to be intelligent. You know that he's going to have the right tactics. But you just have to work.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah, yeah.
outwork the players against you. You have to outwork each and every player on the pitch. Um, I want a prediction.
Um, I think uh, I think City are going to win. And this is bias aside. Both if look, if I'm gonna put both bias and non-bias, then I'm gonna put City in both situations. Um, but if I want to look at this objectively, man, just the again, I'm gonna go back to the storylines. The way City have progressed through this knockout round, the absolute can't find the word for it. It just the absolute intensity they bring into games, um, their hunger. They seem so together. They've figured out a formation which they haven't changed whatsoever. This hasn't happened during Pep's tenure at all. He always picks and changes players, whether it's in the run in the Premier League or other competitions. But I think they found their system, the club, everything around the club. Like it's positive vibes. People are optimistic. And again, both teams have no injuries, by the way. So each team is going in healthy 100%. Bar Walker, I think he missed a training session. Um, yeah, I think City are going to win. Uh, but if it's something that actually exists, I hope both teams lose. Because one, as a Barca fan, it pains me to see Inter in the final, and two, I need the eighth Ballon d'Or to be protected.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a spanner in the works.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not
It's just that.
surprised for you to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I want Inter to win because the City has screwed over Arsenal and they screwed over Real Madrid. But there's also, I think, out of every football fan in the world, like I can't see anyone predicting
Yeah.
Inter to win. Everyone's going with the safe one, City. So, for even though realistically, with my ball knowledge and what I know of football, I think City would win. For the fun of it, I'm going to throw a spanner in the works. Inter to win, 2
Okay,
1.
that's not a bad shot. I don't think it's gonna be a massive scoreline. So for either team, whoever wins, to be honest, we've
No,
had the last 3 or 4
yeah,
years in a row. It's all been 1-0 finals. So it won't surprise me if it's another 1-0 or
yeah.
a one goal deficit. Yeah.
Well, that's a wrap, I guess. Obviously, tune in to this episode before you watch the game, and let's see if we got these predictions right. And let's see, more importantly than the predictions, if we actually got it right in terms of how each team approaches it. Let's see if City have the right tactics, and let's see if Inter does play the physical game and if they do it well. Thank you for watching as always. Our links are below if you want to check out TikTok. You can also listen to all our episodes on Spotify if you're busy, if you're at work, whatever it may be. And
See you.
yeah, we'll
Bye
catch you
bye.
next time.